Hey guys, it's Lavelle from Fly Level Development. Today we're going to be going over the basics of an E6B. With your E6B purchase, you should receive a E6B user manual, and we're going to be going over different parts of VFR cross-country flight planning. So we're going to go over ground speed, time, fuel, and distance, as well as how to do wind correction angles.
Alright guys, so for this video, the first part we're going to look at is the E6B. There's two sides, but we're going to focus on the ground speed and the true heading side. So first off, for example, we're going to be taking off from airport A to airport B. So first we want to do is we're going to try to find the course, which on this case, it'll be 90. That'll be our course heading from A to B. After that, we want to know where our wind speed is and from where it's coming. So for example, we're going to use 230 at 18 knots. Next, we're going to want to know what is the performance we're at. What is our plane performing at? What is the speed we're going at? And for that, we're going to be using 125 of true airspeed. So once you have that in, what you want to do is we're going to move on to the E6B. And the good thing about most E6Bs is they're all going to have simple steps to follow. But for this one, I'm going to show you how to do it manually. So first what we want to do is under our true index, we're going to want to put the direction of our wind. So it's at 230. So we're going to move it until we hit 230. Once we hit 230, we're going to set the grommet, or the middle part. I like to put it at 100, so it kind of counts as a 0. We're going to put it at 100, and then we're going to do the speed, which is 18. So we're going to make a little mark right under the 120, which is where 18 would be if 100 was 0. After that, we're going to want to move it to our course heading, which originally had, which was a 90. So then we put it on 90. Once you hit 90, what you want to do is you want to use your true airspeed and put that dot that we drew, move it up until 125, which was our true airspeed. Once we're at 125, we read out the number that's at the grommet, which is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it would be here. It'd be, sometimes you have to estimate a little bit, but according to it, it'd be 138. So 138 is going to be our ground speed. After that, we're going to need also to find our course deviation, which if we look here, from the middle part, if we count the slashes going vertically, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. So what we have to do is add that 5 to that course heading. So our new course would be 95. And that's how we use this first side of the E6B. Alright guys, so for this side, we're going to be using the flight computer now. And you can do a lot of things with it, but what we're going to focus on is time between two different points, fuel endurance, and your true airspeed, which are the most common three things you're going to be looking for. So first off, for time, we're going to be looking between how long it takes to get to point A to point B. So what we have is we know the distance, which is 245 nautical miles, and then we're going 150 knots. So how do we find the time? So what we're going to do is we're going to set the rate, which is our knots, we're going to set it to 150. So the 60 is going to land on the 150. After that, we're going to look for that 245 knots, so on the outside. 245 is going to be between 24 and 25. So we'll call it right there. What we're going to do is move down to the inner circle, which would be the time circle, inner circle, and it's going to be between 135 and 140. So guesstimation here, we'll go, if it's going straight on the middle, we'll go 137. So when we do 137, that means that the time between these 2 points for 245 nautical miles going 150 would be 1 hour and 37 minutes. That's how you find the first part. The next part, for fuel endurance, what you first need to know is your fuel burn. For us, it's 8.4, and then you need to know the capacity of how many gallons you're carrying in the plane, which would be 64 gallons. So what we would do next is set that same rate, move it to the 8.4, which would be 8.4 right there. And on the, what you would do next is you'd look for 64 on the outside. Once you hit 64, like I said again, we're looking for time again, so we're using that inner circle. So outside 64, go down, and we're going down. This would be 750, so about 745 would be what we'd find there, which would be 7 hours, 45 minutes, roughly, would be how much the plane could fly while burning 8.4 gallons an hour, and it had 64 gallons of fuel. Finally, the most common would be true airspeed. So what we're going to do is from point A to point B, you're going to need the time and the distance. So we'd have The distance between these 2 points is 26 nautical miles. The time to get between these 2 points is 13 minutes. So we would do then, since we already know the time and we already know how the distance, we're going to find 26 on the outside, and with the inside, we're going to use time, which would be 13. So once we line them up, we have 13 and 26. After that, we're going to look at the rate again. And when we look at it, it's 1-2. We're not going to think, oh, it's 12 knots, because that's not the speed we'd be going at. So common sense would be it'd be at least 120. So for true airspeed, with this time and distance, our true airspeed would be 120 knots. And that is how we use the E6B. Now, there are plenty more things we could do with it, but these are the basic 3 things that we usually do on this side of the E6B.
Now that we went over the fundamentals of the E6B, don't forget to let us know what you guys think by leaving a comment and a like. Don't forget to subscribe and fly safe.